Hello everyone. Today I've got three more simply amazing horror books. I was excited to read these three. You're going to be excited to read them, and I can't wait to tell you all about them. These ones are complete bangers all the way through. And before we get started, a reminder that I have horror books for sale, and you can find those. There's a link in the description for not a lot of money if you want to purchase those. If you want to join my Patreon, you'll get free short horror stories from me every month, 5 free horror books from other authors every month, and starting in a month or two, exclusive videos specifically for Patreon members. There's only one tier, so if that's something you want to check out that link. All right, let's get started. All right, so the first book I want to talk about today is going to be the newest one from Tim Levin. This one's coming out in August. There is a pre-order link in the description. Secret Lies of the Dead. But this one is so good. I'm telling you, it's so good. It's a supernatural horror thriller. And it has what I think is one of the best antagonists, one of the best villains you'll read about in horror this year. This guy, Lem, is unforgettable. He is so bone-chilling. And Lem's mission, his whole life, his one and only mission, was to collect cursed artifacts that came from generations ago when a witch cursed his family and cursed his bloodline, and then hung herself from a tree, and the tree absorbed her. And that tree was chopped down, and these wooden pieces are said to be the cause for this curse to keep going. And they've been scattered all over England in very abandoned buildings and down wells and other places. And it's very hard to track all these pieces down. Lem's father spent his entire life doing this, tracking down many of those cursed pieces. And when he died horrifically, many people say because of that same curse, it became on young Lem, 12 years old at the time, I believe. And now that was his life's mission. And that is his only life's mission. This obsession with finding these things, killing and destroying anybody or anything that gets in his way of finding them, is what makes him so horrific, in my opinion. That single-minded purpose, his whole entire life, has been to find these artifacts. And, yeah, he's just a very bone-chilling, meticulous, very sociopathic antagonist, as you'll see. But then there's a woman named Jody. 15 years previously, Jody's father had helped Lem find one of these artifacts. And then Lem killed her father with the artifact right in front of her. And she escaped. She has not seen Lem in 15 years, but he's been a constant presence in her life the whole time. She thinks about him every day. She is scared of him because she knows exactly what he'll do and what he'll go through, put himself through even if necessary, to get these artifacts. But her goal is revenge, but not to kill him. She wants him to suffer something more painful, and for him, that would be not being able to collect all these artifacts. And so she discovers the last artifact before Lem. She enlists the aid of her boyfriend and her boyfriend's best friend. Doesn't tell them why, just says there's this abandoned house we're going to go break in. There might be some antiques in the basement. We can sell them for money, but she's there because she knows that artifact is in there. And for the first time in 15 years, right before they make their exit from that abandoned house, Lem shows up. And the rest of this book is just a terrifying, tense, blood-filled cat and mouse game between Lem and Jody and who's going to possess this artifact. Since this is the last one, that's the one he needs to complete his life's mission that he has suffered for. And should have died many times over for, and killed more people than he can remember over. But now she has possession of it once they escape Lem this time. And Lem's going to make sure they can't leave town, and you'll read all about that. He's very twisted, very methodical. He's always thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead, which is what makes him so horrific. But it's just going to become this game. And at one point, she doesn't want to tell the whole truth to the people that helped her, but that could backfire. Nobody is safe here. And at one point, she just might have to kill him kill them just to make sure that he can't complete whatever it is he's going to do with this ritual and this last cursed artifact. But in the meantime, nobody is going to leave there unscathed. Nobody is going to leave there unharmed. And nobody's ever going to be the same again. Let me put it that way. Yeah, this book is action-packed. It is tense. It is thrilling. It's got that supernatural mystery about what he's going to do once this tree is complete again with this witch that was absorbed in there. What is that going to help break the curse? And in the meantime, Lem's seeing visions of his dead father and his other dead relatives, and they're calling him a failure, telling him he has to do this. And oh man, this thing is exciting. I absolutely loved it. Highly recommended, of course. And there's a link in the description where you can pre-order your copy. And next we have The Starving Saints. This is medieval horror. Medieval horror. I didn't know if I'd like it when I first read that. Not usually a big, historical horror fiction guy. Oh, but this one is so good, so creepy, so bloody. And that right kind of a little bit weird at the same time. And it's about a city that has been under siege for 6 months by an invading army. And all the citizens of the city has to leave, and they all cram into their fortress, kind of a small city within their bigger city, once this other army takes over. And for 6 months, they've tried to live inside these walls as this army tries to break their defenses. And it holds like 3 times more people than what it should in the first place. And even though they ration food and try to do everything that they can for the people, pretty soon food stores start running low. People are starting to starve. People are catching rats to eat. People are eating things they shouldn't eat. That kind of thing. And at one point, when people die because of the invading army attacking them, or they die of starvation, they might be left with a choice to start eating their dead just to be able to survive. And that's the situation they're in. Until one day, magically, the goddess that they worship, a goddess they call the Constant Lady, and 3 of her saints, materializes out of thin air and comes to their rescue, seemingly. They just materialize, and all of a sudden they're offering these people a feast. Meats and fruits and vegetables out of nowhere. They didn't bring any baskets, but it's just coming out of the kitchens, seemingly by magic. And these people worship this Constant Lady. But there's something wrong here. There's 3 characters that know something is wrong with this situation and this Constant Lady. It might not be, and they don't think it's the goddess and the saints at all. They think it's something else, some other creatures taking on that form. And as people indulge in this food, except for those 3 characters, they think they're eating meats and berries and fruits, when in fact they are eating human flesh. People are volunteering arms and legs and other body parts to feed the rest, because they're under the control now of this kind of hive mind that these creatures have, hiding behind their facade of being Satan, and people start being controlled and manipulated by whatever is posing as this Constant Lady, the more they indulge in her food. But the 3 characters that deny her are all 3 very different. We're going to learn about all of them, and it is great. Their backgrounds and the various ways they are trying to figure this out and maybe trying to escape. And the thing is, these 3 people do not like each other through most of the book. Like, they are not friends. They are so very different in their approach and in their ideals. They are very much argumentative and contentious throughout most of this book. And it makes for a very good dialogue and very tense and intense situations and encounters, as they each have a different idea of how they should proceed. But here's what we're going to learn in this book, is that every piece of information they get, every little thing that can help them, any chance to escape, is going to cost them greatly. Everything comes with a price there. And they're going to have to give up bits of themselves if they want the help they need to escape. And I mean that metaphorically and sometimes literally. When you hear about what's under the tunnels. Yeah, you read about that. But Everything comes with a price. And how much are they willing to sacrifice to try to save their town from these creatures while also saving themselves? And, you know, one of them wants to do that heroically. One of them doesn't care about anybody else in that town and thinks they should just escape. And so it's tension between these three people that should be allies while all this horrific stuff is going on, and people are dying, and people are being chopped up, and people are being fed to the masses once they die, and it's just gruesome and horrifying to think about, you know. But this one is absolutely fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. I was into it from the very first page, and all the way through, man, I was hooked. And I definitely highly recommend it, and there's a link in the description where you can pick up your copy. And next we have a book that came out in 2022, but as always, I think I picked it up in 2023, and I just got to reading it. That's how bad my TBR list is right now, you know. But this is called Motherland. And this one is just, oh my God, it's so darkly humorous at times, but so gruesome and so disturbing at the same time. And it's about a couple, they love each other, they decide to move in with his mother to help take care of her during her old age. Now the wife, she wants to have his mother as a mother figure to her because of trauma she suffered from her mother in the past. She works at a nursing home. She has one of the elderly residents. She's taking care of her, treating her like a mother figure, and because that's all she's looking for. She has mommy issues, and she's looking for a mother figure. But her husband's mother, her mother-in-law, does not like her at all. She's always putting her down and throwing these little verbal jabs and she's jealous of the fact that she can't be with her boy anymore. It's one of those kind of relationships because she's manipulated him and controlled him his whole life until he met his wife. But one day, her mother-in-law commits suicide in the basement of her home, and this event is going to change both of them mentally and emotionally, as the man is going to go into a deep, dark, disturbing, depressive state, and she is going to start floundering, trying to hold everything together as their marriage and relationship falls apart. But we're going to find out that she has some very dark thoughts about what should be done about it as well. And she's going to make some decisions that's going to lead to some horrific, very horrific things. And you're going to have to read about that. But what makes this even worse is when the spirit, the ghost of her mother-in-law, starts showing up at the house. Because now her mother-in-law from beyond the grave is still trying to drive that wedge between her son and her daughter-in-law. And her daughter-in-law is trying her best to get her husband out of this depression. But now he's spending all his time in his basement, and he says, talking to his mother. And it just gets creepy, it gets violent, it gets disturbing, and you're going to have to read about how all that turns out. But again, one of those is nobody's going to be the same, you know, that kind of thing. But this one was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Of course, I highly recommend it. And there's a link in the description where you can pick up your copy. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.